Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and happy Friday. We have got a fun-filled, packed video full of some interesting things to go over today. We have a new pattern release. Love Notions released their newest pattern yesterday and I did a little short on it just so you could kind of see, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more and about picking fabric for this pattern. Which I know I get a lot of comments and messages and everything else about projects failing because just the wrong fabric was picked. So I know that there's some learning that hopefully I could provide some knowledge towards on picking correct fabrics for patterns, because I do know that is something that quite a few people struggle with. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get into that, today is Friday and we have a Feature Friday pattern, and it is a really, really, really good one. And I'll be showing you more on Monday or on Tuesday about my version. But sorry, my watch is going off, my smartwatch, spam risk. Today's Feature Friday pattern is the Love Notions Tempo Sundress. Okay, I have made this pattern a couple of times before. I've made it in a rayon and like a crinkle rayon, and I've made it in a cotton sateen from Minerva. Love both versions. I really love my cotton sateen one, mostly because I feel like the rayon one that I made, which I did for the test when they released this dress, the colors are a little too autumnal for a dress that you can layer it and stuff, and I have taken it into the autumn a little bit. I just don't wear it as much. It's still in my closet, but I just don't wear it as much. But however, my one that I made out of the sateen, the Minerva exclusive print on the cotton sateen, I wear a ton. That feels very summery to me, and I've already worn it. You've seen it in Me Made May. Absolutely love that pattern. But what is even more exciting about this pattern right now is that Tami has done a sleeve add-on for it, which you're wondering, how does that even work? It's just a strapped sleeveless dress. It is so cute. It's a puff sleeve. You could either cinch it in with the elastic to make it a puff sleeve, or you could just hem it and leave it more of a flutter sleeve. It could be entirely up to you. And I really wanted to try and make it with the sleeve. Also, I needed a win. And I knew that I had made the tempo a couple of times, wanted to try it out, and with the sleeve add-on, and it was a win, and I'm so glad that I did. This is actually made in my Distashify fabric. I'll show you a picture of the dress right now. So the add-on of the sleeve is free. If you already own this pattern, it's in if you click on the pattern in your library, it's there. So you can try and make it yourself. If you don't own this pattern already though, you can use the code 10TOMCAT to get an additional 10% off your order, because it's $5 today only. It's a fantastic price, as well as the little girl one as well. And the little girl one, she made a sleeve add-on for the little girl pattern as well. Both of those are $5 today only. You can get additional 10% off the sale price using my code 10TOMCAT. So fantastic thing to grab. Also, this pattern features shirring in the back panel, which is the elastic bobbin thread that you can use to make it stretchy. Or you can do the back panel with channels with elastic if you're uncomfortable with the shirring. However, don't be uncomfortable with the shirring. I actually have a tutorial for how to do shirring, and I will leave it in the description box down below if that's something you've never tried before and you're a little nervous about it. It's actually really zen. I really find it kind of comforting, and it has a really cool finished product. So definitely you want to take a look at it. And if you don't have this pattern in your stash, in your catalog, you really want to grab it for the $5 today only with that really cute, again, free add-on sleeve. And again, if you already own the pattern, just go click on it in your library right now and you'll see that free sleeve add-on there as well, which is very exciting. And I'll be talking more about my version on Tuesday when I do my Distashify, my May Distashify Makes and Fabric haul, even though it's June. Next week is June. But I will be showing that in a little bit more detail. But anyway, I wanted to give you a sneak peek and send you on over there. Okay. Today, though, we're going to be talking about the new Love Notions Chorus Top and Dress. This is their newest pattern. It was released yesterday. It is currently on sale for the next week for release sale. And again, use that same code 10TOMCAT. You get an additional 10% off that sale price. So it's a really great time to grab this pattern if you're interested. Now, let's talk about this pattern because this is a really cool concept. I guess a few months ago, and Love Notions has a Facebook group, just a pattern support Facebook group. Anyone can join. Go over there. It's got a lot of help with their patterns. People talk about, maybe an issue they're having, or getting ideas, or hey, there's this look I want to recreate. What Love Notions patterns would you suggest? That kind of stuff. It's a really good Facebook group. Anyway, they reached out to the Facebook group, and I think it was just the Facebook group. I don't think they did anything on Instagram, but I could be wrong. Basically having their community build the next pattern. So Tami went through and she did, do you want the next pattern to be a knit or a woven? And then the votes came in, and everyone had selected, knit. And then it was, do you want it to be, bottoms or a top? and then everyone selected. And then, here's 3 options for necklines. Which ones do you want? And then everyone picked. And then here's some options for sleeves. And then everyone picked. So the pattern was built by a whole series of voting from the community, which I think is such a cool idea and so fun. So this is the pattern. The chorus, top and dress, is the pattern that was built by the Love Notions community, which is a really, really cool thing. So it features a cowl neck front, and there's 2 options. You can do a shallow cowl neck, which is what I've done here, or a deep cowl neck. And then for the back, you can do either a, my facing is rolled up and is causing a unsightly, there we go. You can do either the standard back, which I've done on mine, or there's also a draped back version that you can do. So you can do like the drape in the front and the back to do something really va-va-voom. There are, quite a few different sleeve options. There's a split short sleeve that's really cute. Specifically, Karina from Lifting Pins and Needles did a dress. I mean, not shocking. She does some of the best dresses, above the knee dress, and she did with a split sleeve. It's really pretty. It looks really pretty, especially with the draped cowl on the front and back. And I almost used that for this one, but decided to go the sleeveless route. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Then there's also the sleeveless version where you bind the sleeve openings, which is what I've used here. And then there's a sleeve. There's like a straight sleeve that you can do, which technically you could make it a whole bunch of different lengths if you wanted to, but just a straight fitted sleeve. So that is kind of a little bit about the pattern. Oh, and then you can make it as a top, or you can make it as a dress. And it could be a dress with a skirt right above the knee, or more of a midi length dress. They're both really, really beautiful. They're kind of an A-line skirt on both of them, and then they've got elastic that cinches the dress in at the waist. So really beautiful options. And I really wanted to make myself, once I started seeing I wasn't a tester for this, but I do, because I'm an ambassador for Love Notions, have access to patterns before they come out so I can make them up for the release. So that put me into the testing group so I could just see what all the testers were making. And when I was seeing like all the different dress versions pop up, I was like, oh, I really want to make a dress. I just didn't have time to whip one up before this video, but the fabric I'm going to show you here is actually what I think I'm going to make an above the knee dress out of. Just for something kind of fun and va-va-voom. So anyway, there are some really good versions. But I decided to go for the top, and I wanted a sleeveless top because I was making things, planning out my summer capsule wardrobe. And if you haven't seen that video already, that was on Tuesday's video, and talking about some plans I had. This is the mystery pattern I was talking about. But talking about the plans I had, and I really wanted to bring this kind of ocean blue into my wardrobe a little bit more because I think it's a really good color on me. It's on my color chart, and I really like it. And I wanted a few more beyond basic knit tops, but more sleeveless because it does get hot here. So that is why I went with the sleeveless version. Now, I was going back and forth on whether or not I wanted the shallower neck drape or the deeper neck drape. And to be honest, if I'd had more fabric, I probably would have gone with the deeper neck drape, just because of the nature of this fabric. I like it as is, but I think I just didn't have enough fabric. This is a little bit narrower fabric, and when I purchased it, I had purchased it with just like kind of a base layer in mind, just like a regular t-shirt. So I had plenty of fabric for that. But because of the draped neckline and it's like self-faced, It just makes the pieces really long. And so I just didn't have enough um, length of fabric and width, because again, this is a little bit narrower fabric. It would have been fine with a straight t-shirt, but yeah, I just didn't have quite enough. So I only had enough to do the shallower drape neckline and then the standard back. Although I would have done the standard back anyway, I think, just because this is like a casual type of shirt. So I made the medium with the full bust. I used the projector file. It's been shortened 1 inch at the waist, but that is the only adjustment that I've made to this. And I really like it. I just think it's really cute and something different. And I think I'm going to wear it a lot this summer. I love the color, and I love having the color really close up to my face as well. Again, this is on my color card. I had my colors done virtually by the Color Guru. Gosh, it's been a while ago. I do have a code for that, Tomcat Color, if you're interested. Gets you 10% off any of their packages that they offer. I just find it very nice to have a cohesive colors, like I think there's 35 colors that I'm working from that just make my closet super cohesive, and then I know that they look really good up like by my face and stuff. And that's how I feel with this one. So it's just something different, and I really, really love this. Okay, so let's talk about this fabric first, and then I'm going to talk about picking correct fabric for this pattern, because with this cowl neckline, you really want to make sure that you are picking the correct fabric so that you have a sewing win instead of a sewing fail, something that you're really going to love wearing versus something that might, that you just don't feel right in, or something feels off, which a lot of times can just be fabric selection. So this particular fabric is a wool spandex knit from Sewing Studio, and I have a code that gets you 15% off at the Sewing Studio. It's over on my website. I will link the website down below. There's all sorts of affiliate codes over on my website. If you're ever looking for a coupon code, maybe that you've heard me mention, the resource section on my website is a great place to go to find those codes, but I'll link it down below as well. But it'll get you 15% off. And she still has some of this fabric. In fact, she's got it in a couple of different colorways. But what I love about wool knit, you might think, oh my gosh, for summer, that would be so hot. But no, because it's a natural fiber, it is wicking, and it will keep you cool in the summer, warm in the winter. So it's a great base layer. It's a great, like for the colder months, but it's also really great for the summer because it doesn't hold, it's wicking. It doesn't hold moisture like cotton because it is a protein fiber. Wool and silk are protein fibers and natural. I mean, cotton's natural too, but it's a vegetable-based fiber. And anyway, it's really great actually for summer fabric, because a lot of my workout wear is a merino wool and nylon blend for my workout tops that I got from the fabric store. And they are fantastic for wicking. They're so very comfortable to wear. Anyway, and a natural fiber. So, a little bit better on the old environment. But anyway, absolutely love this. I love that it's fitted through the bust and then kind of skims everywhere else, like it's not too fitted anywhere else. And yeah, it's finished off really nicely. And the instructions have you not do anything with the facing edge of the pattern, both in the front and the back, and just to leave those free so that you don't have any show through on the wrong side. And I don't know, it makes it a really quick sew, especially the sleeveless. I finished off the armholes with binding. So basically I just wrapped the raw edge with strips of knit, basically, strips of binding. And that finishes it off really nicely and cleanly. And then I sewed it with my cover stitch to finish that off. The instructions have you folding that under, but you could absolutely leave that edge raw on the inside. And then I finished my hem off with the cover stitch as well. But this, again, went together really, really quickly. And I'm really pleased with how this all turned out. Okay, so let's talk about fabric a little bit, lest this video gets way too long. So I'm going to suggest when you're doing something, making a fabric where you want drape, where drape is important, such as this drape here in this neckline, a cowl neckline, you want to choose fabric that has a lot of drape. Because that is, the intention. You want the fabric to be working along with the pattern. So I've grabbed a couple of samples here, and this is actually the fabric I would like to make a dress out of. This is a viscose or rayon knit, and this is perfect for this pattern. So if you have any viscose or rayon in your stash, rayon spandex like knit, absolutely fantastic for this pattern. And the reason is that this fabric has a lot of weight. It's a very heavy fabric. So we get a lot of, it falls, it's heavy. You get a lot of really beautiful drape. You don't get a lot of bulk in this area because everything just lies really beautifully because the fabric has drape. Whereas if you were to make this pattern out of a cotton spandex, such as this scrap, you'll notice that it doesn't fall down on itself as much. So look how much skinnier, and really we're looking at the top here because towards the bottom is just the bulk of fabric, but look how much skinnier this lays as opposed to this kind of stands away from itself a little bit more. That means that the cowl on this is going to stand away from the body. And maybe that's what you want. Maybe that's something that you want. You're wanting a lot of volume. If you're small on top and you want a lot more volume, this could be a lot of fun. And maybe you want to do the deep drape and have a lot of like volume up here at your chest. That can be wonderful. You can do the same thing on the back. But just know that that's what a cotton spandex or something with more body is going to do to a pattern just like this. Whereas the rayon or a viscose spandex is going to minimize that. It's just going to lay really nice and flat and have a lot. I just feel like I'm saying drape 800 times. But that is the reason that you might want to choose something like this for this pattern. And this is what I'm going to make my dress out of. Now, cons for this. Because, and the reason that a rayon or viscose spandex has a lot of drape is that it's a very heavy fiber. Viscose or rayon is a natural fiber that's gone through a man-made process. A lot of times it's actually wood cellulose. Not always. Bamboo is considered a rayon. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different natural fibers that'll go through a chemical process to create a fabric. But because of that, it's heavy. It's a lot heavier than its natural counterparts. So rayon, viscose was made to be a substitute for silk. Silk is very lightweight, but during war times, rationing and all that kind of stuff, that's where this came up to be a substitute for. But it's just a heavier fiber. So because of that heaviness, it pulls everything down. And this is the same for knits as it is for wovens when it comes to a rayon or viscose fiber. So that is kind of why it does what it does. Whereas cotton is a lighter weight fiber, but it has more structure. Like the actual threads have more structure, which help them keep their shape, which is fantastic if you are making something that you want it to hold its shape, whether it's something a little more structured, you want a poof sleeve to hold its shape, you want a skirt to hold out its shape, whatever it might be. That is kind of why you would choose one or the other. Now, the fabric that I use for this, again, is a wool knit, and I would say it has in between. It has like in between the viscose and the cotton. So maybe not quite as drapey as I would want for, most things, but I think it works really, really well. And honestly, I just really wanted the color, and I knew that this would be a comfortable fabric to wear in the summer as well. But I think the drape works. It's enough. There's enough drape in this fabric that, that it doesn't make the cowl stand off of my body too much, which I definitely don't want because I am busty and I don't need any added volume in that area. Now, the cons of the fabric are that because this is a heavier fabric and does a lot more drape, which can be wonderful, it also clings a little bit more to lumps and bumps. Just keep that in mind. It's just the nature of the fabric. You gotta, you win some, you lose some. Whereas a cotton spandex, because it has more structure, it stands off the body a little bit more. So it doesn't cling quite as much. So just be aware, of that. And that's kind of what that does. So, maybe you want to choose different undergarments for a viscose dress or a rayon dress versus something with cotton spandex blend. But that is kind of why the fabric does what it does and why you might want to choose one or over the other. Another one that might be kind of fun to play around with is a cotton modal spandex mix. That is kind of becoming a popular fabric. You see a lot of places that has just the modal gives it a little bit more drape, the cotton a little bit more drape. It's kind of the best of both worlds a little bit. It may stand away from the body. It'd probably stand away from the body about like how this fabric is doing, would be my guess. So something to keep in mind if you are also choosing fabrics. Anyway, also making anything knit, check to make sure that the stretch percentage that is required in the pattern is the minimum stretch percentage that you have in your fabric. So if the pattern calls for at least, fabric with at least 30% stretch, you need to make sure that the fabric you're using has at least 30% stretch so that things fit as they're supposed to, and you don't end up with something way too tight. I've been there and made that mistake. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say about fabric and making it with the chorus. But if you are looking for a really fun va va boom dress, I think this would make a fantastic cocktail dress that would feel like secret pajamas. If you have a wedding to go to this summer, this made up in a solid fabric and something real slinky, drapey would be beautiful and would be so incredibly comfortable to wear. So it would be a fantastic option for any formal wear or anything where you need a little bit nicer dress, going forward into the summer or winter if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. So on that note, it is on release sale right now, so now is a great time to grab it. You can use my code 10Tomcat to get you an additional 10% off that sale price, so it's a really good time to grab that too. And don't forget about the Feature Friday pattern. It's just a fantastic time to buy that because it's only $5, plus you can use my code to get an additional 10% off, but you get that little add-on sleeve. And if you already own the pattern, go in and check in your file because you'll have that little sleeve pattern there. It's just a lot of fun. And I encourage you to make your own tempo here soon. It's a really wonderful spring and summer dress. All right, guys, that is all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful Friday. I will and get some sewing in this weekend, and I will see you guys again on Tuesday with my Destashify Makes and Fabric Haul. Have a good weekend. See you on Tuesday. Bye.